Hoi hoi my friends! Today I'll serve you with my latest build, a Nightblade tank / Bruiser. With update 32 and armory, I feel like I should take another look at the tank builds, since I can respect it to a Bruiser to do more damage while doing a solo content. This is suitable for any veteran group content with a lot of synergies and debuffs to offer, and also pretty much any solo content this game has to offer. Why a Nightblade, you might ask? Well, because they are versatile and they can offer a small damage boost to whole group with a hemorrhage passive. This build has a lot of health to withstand a beating and nice stamina recovery for sustain and keeping up the shields. This build uses a dubious Cameron Throne Ring and Tower Mundstone for enough stamina. Race should be Imperial for its great passives to health, stamina and reduced resource costs. Other viable choice is Nord for its bonuses to resistances. We have two 5-piece sets and a monster set. Monster set for tank setup is Swarm Mother to ease up pulling trash mobs. Traits on big armor pieces are infused with Tri-Stat enchant. You can use Nernhound or Sturdy for other pieces. First of the 5-piece set is Plague Doctor. This gives us tremendous health pool, which is why we benefit greatly from increased health passives such as Undaunted passive, Heavy Armor passive and Nightblade's Shadow skill line passive. Second 5-piece set is Vampire Kiss, which is craftable. It gives you both stamina and magicka and restores whopping 30,000 points of health over 10 seconds. You basically have a pretty constant heal over time on you. We use 5 heavy armor pieces, 1 light armor piece that should be the Shash, and 1 medium armor piece that should be the Bracers to further increase Undaunted passive and benefit from every armor passive. Front bar is one-handed and shield. And first we have the taunt Ransack. You'll also debuff your enemies you taunt. Second skill is Silver Leash, which is your pull and snare. Third skill is one of the shields this build has. This morph further reduces the cost of blocking and increase the amount you can block. Fourth skill and the second shield is Bone Surge. This also gives a synergy for allies. Both shields scales from max health, so you have huge shields. Fifth skill is your hard CC and stun for up to 12 enemies for 6 seconds. Your main ultimate is Spell Wall. It is cheapest and allows you to gather stamina and renew your shields, causing your health to remain pretty much intact. Back bar is Ice Staff for buffing up and damaging. First skill is Blockade of Frost, a small path of frost damage and shield from projectiles. A second skill is Dark Cloak. It is a pretty strong self-heal and damage mitigator, while it also procs the Shadow Barrier passive, thus granting you a major resolve. Third skill is a Refreshing Path, a small path to buff your speed and heal you while you are on the path. Fourth skill is Sap Essence for small insta-heal and buffing yourself up. Fifth skill is Spectral Bow, the Merciless Resolve. It deals damage and heals you. Your back bar ultimate is Soul Tether, but this is more of a panic button. Alright, let's take a look of CP. I'll comment them briefly and you can copy my setup if you wish. The craft constellation is more or less useless, so spec them how you prefer. I'd use speed bonus, and if you're not interested in crafting or harvesting speed, you can use those points to reduce enchantment or potion charges. Warfare constellation is where you should invest your points to mitigating damage instead of doing it. If you have enough CP, you can allocate your points more towards damage dealing. And the fitness constellation is where you make yourself even tankier. And if you have enough CP, utilize it for better sustain. Quick tips how to play this build effectively in group instances. For basic trash pulls, cast your spectral bow, shield up and cast your frost wall and refreshing path. Cast fearing traps and start blocking to pull ranged enemies to you. Once your spectral bow is ready, fire it away and give them some sap essence while you're at your back bar. Rinse and repeat until your enemies are dead. For boss fights, learn individual boss mechanics and play accordingly. You can do pretty much anything you want with this build, but this lacks of damage, so everything is a bit time consuming. And that's why I'll introduce the Bruiser version of this build. The Bruiser setup has a little adjustments to CP, weapons, monster set and skills. You'll deal a lot more damage, but you can just hack and slash your enemies. As the name says, your playstyle is to get into the middle of the fight and stand your ground. You won't be running out of heals, that's for sure. I'll explain briefly the differences between this Bruiser setup and the tank setup. You'll keep your both 5-piece sets, but you'll switch your monster set to dummy house with Divine's traits. That is for guaranteed damage buff and damage over time. You'll switch your front bar weapon to two-handed maul for more penetration. You'll drop your one-handed and shield skills and equip more damaging skills instead. Some skills needs to be morphed to stamina versions, Also, you'll switch all of your attributes to stamina, as you don't need that big of a health pool because you'll be proccing a vampire's kiss set a lot. You can switch Manda Stone to Warrior for more weapon damage, as Dummy House gives you enough stamina. Alright, let's take a look at skills. The front bar is the two-handed, and the first skill is Surprise Attack. This is your main spammable. The second skill is Reverse Slice. This is your execute skill and small AoE. This is chosen over the Killer's Blade because it starts from 50%. The third skill is Expert Hunter, and this is mainly for the passive for the better critical rating. This should be morphed to Camouflaged Hunter for flanking damage buff. Fourth skill is Power Extraction. This is your main AoE and buffing yourself up. Fifth skill is Relentless Focus, and this is your burst skill that deals a lot of damage. Hit this once it has 5 stacks. Ultimate skill is Dawnbreaker. This is your main ultimate and it should be morphed to Flawless Dawnbreaker for even more weapon power. We don't need the stun. And the back bar. The back bar is for buffing and healing if necessary. You might not even need this. You have one shield and you morph Refreshing Path to Twisting Path for a bit AoE damage over time. If you need to, you will use Vigor for self-heal. Champion point allocation is pretty similar to tank setup, but you'll switch damage mitigation to damage dealing points instead, as you have enough resistances already. I'll show you my allocation. Rotation is pretty simple, as you don't need to nor are even able to be the top tier damage dealer. Dummy House procs automatically, so make sure you start your attack from a melee distance and you stay within the circle. Light attacks in between every skill and use ultimate before you launch your spectral bow, if you are about to have enough ultimate. That way you hit your burst attack a bit harder.